The International 5-inch LCD premium cluster display provides information to drivers in a single, easy-to-read location. Created with feedback from hundreds of drivers, it includes a range of features designed to make you more efficient behind the wheel. Upon opening either door, the premium cluster displays the odometer. Once the key is inserted and turned to the key on position, the cluster will display further content after approximately 7 seconds. For a vehicle configured without any optional content to display on the premium cluster, factory default settings will display the following information: speedometer in the middle, battery voltage in the upper right, odometer at the bottom. Premium cluster, optional non-configurable content. If a vehicle is configured with optional hardware, additional information will display automatically. For automated manual transmissions, gear selection D, N, R will display on the middle left and the current gear number in the lower left. For an automatic transmission, gear selection D, N, R will display on the middle left. The highest gear available will appear in the bottom left corner under Select, and the current gear will appear next to it under Monitor. For a vehicle with an Adaptive Cruise Control System, or ACC, this information will appear in the lower right. This information will appear when vehicle speed exceeds 25 to 35 miles per hour typically, depending on how the particular vehicle is programmed. Your vehicle speed, the letters ACC, and the speed of the vehicle ahead are displayed. The color will change from green to yellow to red if the following distance is inadequate. The letters will change from ACC to CMS for collision mitigation system when imminent active brake application will occur. Premium cluster, standard and optional configurable content. Pagination control. The pagination button is used to change what and how information is displayed. Press the pagination button in any direction to activate selection menus across the top of the screen. Press the pagination button left or right to move to the desired menu. The back button is used to return to the previous screen. Toolbar menus. There are up to 8 menus that can display across the top of the screen, 4 at a time. If a vehicle is not equipped with the required hardware, that menu will not appear. Trip. Trip displays trip-specific information. Speedometer is the first screen to appear. Press the pagination button down to display fuel and depth distance to empty. Press down on the pagination button to display Trip 1 average and instantaneous fuel economy. Press the pagination button down to display miles driven, average, MPG, and hours. To reset Trip 1, press and hold down the OK button for approximately 5 seconds. Press the pagination button down to go through the same process for Trip 2. Press the pagination button down to see total engine hours. Press the pagination button down to display idle trip, which shows trip fuel and trip time. Gauges. Gauges allows you to change what information is displayed. My Gauges displays the customer configured available gauges. If nothing has been configured yet, a message will appear instructing you to configure gauges in the Setup option. Setup will be covered later. Vehicle displays vehicle information. Voltmeter and speedometer are standard. Optional hardware is required to display further content under Vehicle, Engine, Transmission, and Axle. If a vehicle is configured with optional hardware, additional information will be available to display. Under the Vehicle menu, air suspension is optional. Under the Engine menu, engine oil temperature, pyrometer, and DPF level are optional. Under the Transmission menu, transmission oil temperature is optional. Under the Axle menu, forward rear axle temp, rear axle temp, lift axle 1 air pressure, and lift axle 2 air pressure are optional. Alerts. Alerts allows you to see what diagnostic trouble codes, or DTCs, are active. The numbers on the right quantify how many DTCs are active. Press the pagination button down to see alerts for vehicle, engine, ABS, and transmission. Setup. Setup is used to configure the overall display. A lock or unlock symbol will appear to the right of the 3 options. Above 3 miles per hour, the symbol will change from unlock to lock, preventing the driver from accessing these menus. This is to promote safe vehicle operation. Display off turns off the center portion of the display. Press the pagination button again to turn on the display. Display settings is used to change the following: Display backlight is used to change the brightness of the display. Auto changes the brightness of the display based on the dimmer wheel setting to the left of the steering wheel. Manual allows you to increase brightness by moving the pagination button up for brighter or down for dimmer. While in manual mode, the dimmer will not adjust the display brightness. Units changes the units between English and metric units. Language changes the language between English, French, and Spanish. Gauge view settings controls the format of where information is displayed. My Gauges allows you to configure the display to show 2 or 1 analog gauges. My 2 Gauges displays 2 virtual analog gauges side by side. Use the pagination button to navigate up and down to select a desired gauge. Move the pagination button to the right to configure the right gauge, then press OK. My Gauge displays 1 virtual analog gauge. Use the pagination button to navigate up and down to select a desired gauge, then press OK. Top corner gauges. Left allows you to select which information appears in the upper left corner of the premium cluster. Use the pagination button to navigate up and down to select a desired gauge. Move the pagination button to the right to configure the right gauge, then press OK. All vehicles provide the choice of speed, battery voltage, distance to empty for fuel and DEF, instantaneous fuel economy. Reset allows you to reset all user settings to the original factory settings. This will not reset any settings modified using Diamond Logic Builder. If a vehicle is configured with optional hardware, the following gauges can be shown: engine oil temp, pyrometer, trans oil temp, front rear and rear axle temps, boost pressure, ammeter, brake air application, air suspension, lift axle 1 and 2 pressure, outside air temp. ACC. ACC is short for the optional Adaptive Cruise Control System. Radar Learned Alignment provides information about the alignment of the radar unit. Learned Alignment identifies how many degrees off straight forward the radar system is mounted. Correction identifies that the radar unit mounting angle needs to be adjusted and the quantity of turns and direction to make the adjustment. Dynamic Radar Alignment. This screen will tell where a vehicle is tracking. This is useful for technicians for adjustment. Speed limit sign and country. When going between mile per hour and kilometer per hour speed signs, such as international border crossing, this allows the driver to have the system detect road speed signs in the correct units. PTO. PTO displays total time and fuel consumed while the engine operates in PTO mode. If a vehicle is configured with optional hardware, Machine PTO 1 total and Machine PTO 2 total record time and fuel when a rocker switch is activated to turn on a PTO. Machine PTO 1 and Machine PTO 2 trip record time and fuel for the trip. Machine PTO 1 trip and Machine PTO 2 trip are resettable. If a vehicle is equipped with TPMS, or Tire Pressure Monitoring System, the display will show tire pressure, displays individual tire pressure. This may take up to 3 minutes to provide the pressures. Tire temperature, displays individual tire temperature. This may take up to 3 minutes to provide the temperatures. Tire deviation, displays deviation from the target tire pressure. Truck, axle load. If a vehicle is equipped with the optional rear axle load system, a pressure transducer located at the rear suspension airbags will measure air pressure, and the body controller will calculate the weight on the ground based on which optional suspension the vehicle is equipped with. Software in the body controller allows the measurement to be further refined manually to compensate for the weight difference of wide base tires versus dual drive tires, or disc brakes versus drum brakes, for example. Transmission. Oil level. Reports oil level in the transmission, the required amount of oil to add, or the proper action to obtain this information. Oil life reports the percentage of transmission oil life remaining. Filter life reports if the transmission oil filter is acceptable, requires replacement, or if there is a sensor error. Transmission health reports if there are any issues with the transmission. Diamond Logic Builder. International's proprietary Diamond Logic Builder, or DLB, allows the fleet to make further refinements. For example, the premium cluster can be configured to only show red fault codes. Pop-up gauges. To alert the driver of an immediate issue, pop-up messages may appear in place of the information selected for display. For example, if battery voltage is low enough to require auxiliary electrical systems to be turned off, a load shed level message will appear. We're confident that the International Truck Premium Cluster Display will help make you more efficient and more productive. It's one more way we are showing our commitment to drivers and to improving uptime out on the road.